2 weeks after we launched, the Today Show called and asked for it to be on their show. And so I literally flew home. I was on vacation in California. I flew home to DC, and I was nervous that FedEx wouldn't get the box to them in time. So I hopped on a train the minute I came home from my vacation and hand personally delivered the boxes because I was not going to take a chance on it.
Are you ready to learn how to grow your interior design business? Welcome to the lounge. The Chase Lounge. So get comfortable, grab a glass of Cabernet, and let's talk the business of interior design. Now, here's your host, Nick May.
Well, welcome, and thanks for joining me today in the lounge. I'm Nick May, your host, and today we're going to be talking about growing your interior design business. So whether you're in Chicago, Milan, or Fort Worth, Texas, I know you want to do one thing. You want to grow your interior design business, and we're going to do just that by finding out how successful designers do that from around the world. And today I'm coming to you, not live, but I'm coming to you from Dallas, Texas, where I am at the Interior Design Society's National Convention, and it has been a fantastic about day and a half. And today's guest is somebody that I got to sit on a panel together with. We were talking about building a breakthrough brand. I was asked to come to talk to these 100 or so designers that were here for the convention because of what we've been able to do with the Chaise Lounge. So I'm super excited to introduce you to one of my co-panelists. Is that the best way to say this? She was on the panel to talk about a brand that she has built called Box of Chic. And it is, I'm going to let her tell you about it. But she does have a fantastic interior design business where she runs back in the Washington, D.C. area. And her name is Jennifer Wagner Schmidt, and her interior design business is JWS Interiors. So no fluff, no mess. We're just going to jump right into the interview with Jennifer. So Jennifer, where are you from?
I am from Northern Virginia, just outside Washington, D.C.
Okay. And is that where you live now?
That's where I live now.
Did you grow up there?
I did.
Okay. So just like the same house?
No, I'm not in the same house. I've since moved on.
You've moved on to your own house?
My parents are still in the same house.
You're not one of those boomerang kids that goes back and stays back at your parents' house until you're like 45? No,
I do own my house.
That's good.
No, I did live briefly in San Francisco in my early 20s. So I moved away for a little bit and then eventually moved back.
Okay. All right. And you've got a couple of things going on, but we're gonna get to know you just a little bit before we jump into the business of interior design. So, when did you get interested in interior design?
Since I was about 5 years old.
And what was the first thing that happened that made you helped you understand that?
Well, I can distinctly remember my mom buying me a new bedspread, and it was the best day of my life. I spent all day rearranging my room, folding down the bedspread like the magazines. So I think at the time I didn't know, of course, but looking back, it is something that has been in my DNA since I was a child.
Oh, that's fantastic. What did you go to school for interior design?
So this is actually my second career. I initially did high-tech PR for 6 or 7 years.
That's a little bit far from interior design.
It is, right? So you're going from the corporate world to a creative world. That was what my major was in college, and I followed that path and really liked it. But with the long hours, and I was flying all over the country, which was great in my 20s, and I met a lot of different people. But then eventually, I got married, decided I wanted to have kids, and that lifestyle wasn't going to work for me. So I loved design. I had a home at that time and was decorating and entertaining a lot, and everybody was saying, you're good at this. Can you help me do my house? And it started from there, and I eventually quit my corporate job, and I took one design class.
Just one?
One.
What was that on?
Design 101.
Okay.
And I loved it. And
you were hooked.
I was hooked immediately. I had my first child. 9 months later, I said, I'm going to go for this and do my own thing. I had maybe 1 or 2 clients my first year. I made under $1,000
For the whole year?
For the whole year. I had no website. I had nothing. I had no money,
That's
no
great.
website. But I said, I'm going to start it, and we're going to see what's going to happen because I love to do it.
That's awesome. What would you say, before we move on from that topic, what would you say if somebody was listening to us right now and they're working their corporate gig and they're like, I got to make a change? What would you tell them?
You can do it, but you have to, take your time and plan. Do your research. So
While it's safe.
So what I did was I went to every local business chapter meeting that had anything to do with starting your own business. They're free. Many counties had them. And I would sit there for 2 hours. I would write down what people were saying. And then during the Q&A at the end, I was the one who was raising my hand, asking all these questions about how to start a business. I had no idea what I was doing. So I did research. I went to classes. I took the design class. And you can do it if you just put in a little bit of research. The main thing is that you have to have the passion, and you have to be able to take a risk. I took a risk, a big risk.
Calculated risks are okay.
Yeah.
Sounds like that's what you did.
I did, yes. And I hopefully, I think it's paid off now. This is something I love.
Well, we are here in Dallas for the Interior Design Society National Convention, and you and I get to share a stage today. It's coming up, and we're going to be talking about building a brand. Now, you have built, I think, 2 brands. Or is it 3?
No.
Okay.
I think 2's enough.
2's enough.
So JWS Interiors is my design business right outside Washington, D.C. And then I also, just about, 6 months ago, launched Box of Chic, which is a new home decor box delivered to your house, $49. You get 4 to 5 design items that I've personally curated. It comes in a custom designed black and white box, heavy duty, beautifully crafted. And inside of it, you not only get what you're receiving in the box, what it is, but I've also personally styled all of the items in a room. You get that photograph of how to style and then tips for how you can style it in your home. So you're not just getting a box of great design goodies, you're getting more than that. You're getting basically free design tips.
Gotcha.
For $49.
Wow, that's and I've talked to a lot of different people, and a lot of people are trying to find ways to leverage themselves, to leverage their business, because as an interior designer, typically you're trading time for dollars. And so was this something that you did purposely to get out of that, or was this something that you just kind of tripped over?
No, the answer would be no first. I just thought it would be fun. You see these, phenom companies, Birchbox for beauty, Stitch Fix for fashion. But I kept saying, well, where's the home decor one? Mm-hmm. I couldn't come up with one home decor box that I knew was being delivered to people's homes. So I thought, well, why can't I do this? I mean, I'm a decorator. This is what I do as my profession. I can put together value-priced items that coordinate and have it delivered to your home. And I think, Target has home decor products now, so there's obviously a demand for value-priced home decor that still looks great.
Right.
And so that's kind of my initial thinking on why I started it.
And so now you've been doing this for 6 months?
It's been 6 months. It's a bi-monthly box. So it ships out for 2 months, and then we start the new box. Okay.
And how have things gone in the first 6 months?
Yeah, it's been doing well. So we launched in August. 2 weeks after we launched, the Today Show called and asked for it to be on their show. And so I literally flew home. I was on vacation in California. I flew home to D.C., and I was nervous that FedEx wouldn't get the box to them in time. So I hopped on a train the minute I came home from my vacation and personally delivered the boxes because I was not going to take a chance on this opportunity.
Hey, I wouldn't either. Like, that's awesome. Like, most people wouldn't even think that, but what a great way to ensure, like, this is so important. I'm not even,
I wasn't going to take any chances.
Right. So did you get to meet people when you delivered it?
No, not really.
They're just like, thanks. You're like,
I delivered it to one of the
shipping guys.
No, I delivered it to one of the one of the anchors, but I just hand delivered it to her apartment, and then she took it from there. But it was, what an exciting time for me.
Did you just freak out when they called you or emailed you?
Yeah, I wasn't. I just kind of paused for a minute because I wanted to make sure it was legit. Because when you get the email that says the Today Show in the subject line, you don't think it's really for you.
Right. We've all been spammed like a million times. So like that's a really clever, tag subject line.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. So what was the result of being on the Today Show?
So I got a lot of orders from that day, and then that also, not only just the orders, but that also gave me some credibility, obviously. So then when I'm going to talk to other people about what I'm doing, that's great leverage for an entrepreneur to say, hey, they
featured
called
on the
me.
Today Show.
I didn't pitch them; they called me.
Right. Yeah, that's amazing.
Thank you.
And so, progression from there, what else are you doing to market that service and that product? So
right now it's really just still on the phones. I mean, this is, a startup. I wear many, many hats, and it's just, making calls, emails, and getting in there. We're
going to come back to your interior design business, but this is, we were talking about this a little bit last night at dinner. And you were telling me that you have been on Instagram, right?
Yes.
Is that the right?
I'm on Instagram.
And that's been pretty powerful. Has that been for your design business or for the box?
More so for my design business.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Box of Chic is on there as well, but for JWS Interiors, it's been an amazing social media tool.
Okay. So let's back up and go into your interior design business then. How long have you been, how long has that been? Because I know you kind of retooled and started over. So how long has that been in business?
So I started 10 years ago. And it was,
time flies, doesn't it?
Yes. I can't believe I'm saying that. I started very part-time, as I mentioned earlier. So I had my first daughter, literally 1 or 2 clients the first year. And then I had my second daughter a couple years later, still very part-time. I'm taking care of them at home, maybe 5 clients at that time of year.
Sure.
Not making a lot. So it was slow, but it was deliberate because my family came first. And then I knew that once they hit elementary school,
a lot more freedom.
Time, I would have more time to devote, and that was my plan. And so, 10 years. I can't believe that.
And how big's the design firm now?
So I have 1 assistant and me. I do basically everything, and she helps me out. And I like it that way because I meet with all the clients. They know what they're getting. And I love the interaction with different families, and then a lot of times I become friends with them. So my circle of friends has really expanded now because I get so intimately involved with these families. I mean, I'm coming over once and twice a week. I have keys to their homes, and you just get kind of entrenched in their lifestyle because I'm there moving furniture, checking on things. So it's a neat experience.
One of the things I like to ask is, do you remember your very first paying client?
Yes, I do.
So tell us about how did you get that first paying client? Because that's important, because a lot of people listening are like, I haven't even started yet. How do you even get a client?
That is a great question, Nick. My first client was a friend of a neighbor's. So again, when I was talking about my first client, or I only had 1 client my first year, 1 or 2 clients. It was a friend of my neighbor, and my neighbor said, hey, my neighbor just starting a design business. This might be a good time. She's good to catch her. She's really affordable.
You're like, yeah, free.
Yeah. And, she can do your room that you want to do. And so that friend of hers called me, and I ended up doing not only that room, but when they moved, I ended up doing their second house years later.
Probably a much bigger project.
So it was a bigger project, and we had a great relationship for a couple years doing design. So that was my first one.
So do you remember what that first room was?
Yes, it was called the social library, quote unquote. And they had...
Was it like the guest study or the guest bedroom?
Let's see. It actually was the dining room. It was a typical colonial house, square rooms. And she says, we don't use a formal dining room. We're not formal people. We want to hang out in here. My husband and I, we want to drink wine. We want to read books. We have a book club. Make it cool. So that was my first one.
That sounds fantastic. Okay, so now I get to talk to you about Instagram. I'm always itching to get into Instagram. I was at the Design Bloggers Conference a couple weeks ago, and everybody, including Barbara, who has been on the show, was saying, Nick, you got to get on Instagram. You got to get on Instagram. So in the middle of the conference, I'm like, all right, fine. I'm gonna get, and I think I had like 80 followers by the time I left.
There you go.
So I know you've not been on, I mean, you've obviously been on longer than I have, but you've only been there for what, a year?
It's almost 2 years. 2 years right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then how many followers do you have?
Funny you asked. Today I just hit 78,000 even.
78,000, not, oh my gosh. That's
78000K.
Okay, so I get to ask this stupid question because I'm like figuring this thing out. Like Barbara was, tagging me in pictures, and I was like, I don't even know, how do you do that? I mean, I don't want to turn this into a tutorial, but
right.
How have you built that to 78,000? Like that feels like, to me, that would take me 10 years.
No, I think, and listen, so I feel like I even got on. I mean, I know you're getting on maybe a little later than you wish you did. I feel like I got on a little late to the Instagram bandwagon, but it's never too late. So I started off, I posted 6 to 8 times a day. And there are certain times, and you can look this up, I'm sure, on the internet, but I can only speak from my own experience. There are certain times of the day that naturally more people are going to be on Instagram.
Right.
I have found that's in the morning, 9 o'clock Eastern, 12 o'clock noon Eastern, people are at lunch, 5 o'clock Eastern, around right before dinner, and then late at night, there's a huge uptick in people who are on. Yes. 9, 10 o'clock. And I know when I wake up in the morning, I can see all the people while I was sleeping who started to follow me. And, it tells you how many you get. So nighttime, I think, is key. But in the first 6 months, a lot of the photos I posted were of my own. So I do both. So let me start by saying I post some of my own photos from my own designs or styling in my own house. And then I post other people's photos. Mm-hmm. The key is if you're going to post other people's photos, you should tag them, which means that you not only include their Instagram handle, but you also can tag them in the photo. So you click on tap the photo, and you can tag their name so that image that you just took of their photo will show up on their feed on their page. Okay. Not their feed, but their page, so they can see. So then anybody that's following them, they will get a notification that you have tagged them, so they see Nick May just tagged Jennifer Schmidt. Okay. So can you do that after the fact? Yes, you can do it anytime. You could do it a week later. You could go back, and anybody's photo that you've used, you can go back and tag them. Hey guys, I'm going to break in right now, and I want to remind you that the way that we are able to bring this show to you is because we have sponsors, and they're fantastic. So you need to know about Benjamin Moore. If you don't know about Benjamin Moore, if you don't know about Benjamin Moore, you may be living under a rock. But Benjamin Moore is a fantastic solution or a fantastic resource for you when you're designing your projects. And as you may or may not know, I'm a paint contractor, and I've been using Benjamin Moore paint for, the last 25 years, really. I've only had my business for 17, so how have you been doing it for 25? Well, when I started in painting back in Chicagoland, if you're from Chicago, I was a paint contractor in college, and I started a painting business. And if I didn't get the support that I needed
from the Benjamin Moore dealership. That was actually J.C. Licht. For those of you that might be back in Chicago, they're still around today. Huge chain of stores back in the Chicagoland area. They gave me such great support. I am still painting to this day. Now, when I was in college, my dad used to say, Nick, you're going to college so that you don't have to paint the rest of your life. But it's been fantastic. It's been a great ride here in Denver where I paint. But Benjamin Moore has been the strongest partner that I've had over those years. So if you have not been using Benjamin Moore, you need to know about their products and you need to know about their design reps. And they will come alongside of you, help you specify, and get you the tools that you need to be working with your clients. The other business you need to know about is designmanager.com. Design Manager is a cloud-based solution for you to run your interior design business. It's going to do all of your accounting. It's going to track all of your invoices and do everything that you need to do from a project management standpoint, and it's just going to make things simple. So go and check out designmanager.com for a free trial. Now let's get back into my interview with Jennifer. And now we know when the best times are to tag people and to do posts.
To post is, I would just post for sure.
Okay.
9, 12, 5, and 8.
9, 12, 5, and 8.
That's just my
So 4 times a day.
At least when you're first starting.
Is it different on the weekends?
I do see an uptick in people on the weekends. Obviously, most people have more time on the weekends.
Right.
So they're fishing around on their phone, relaxing. So I do see an uptick in likes.
Okay. And do you find that there are certain types of photos that get more attention than others?
Well, in my case, the picture is everything for design, right? Mm-hmm. So as a designer, I have to post the best of the bunch out there. Right. I'm very selective in what I post. So it's not necessarily a particular type of photo, just the best photo I can find of something that inspires me. Sure. or of my work.
Right. Do you ever do anything like in process, or is it always finished?
So good point. This is a good question. So I love doing a sneak peek. So I'll do once in a while a sneak peek of a room I'm working on, but I can't show the final one because I always try to get my work published. That's what we do as designers. So I can never show anybody the final until it's been published. So how I can get it out of my system, so to speak, because I'm excited to share it with everyone, is I do sneak peeks. So it'll be a small vignette of the room. So people like that. Or it'll be at the photo shoot itself. I'll give you a small snippet, or I might be in the snippet of me with the cameras or whatever. And I throw in a couple personal pictures just so people know, the face behind the brand.
Right.
Yeah, but I keep personal ones to a minimum.
Awesome. So you've just touched on another subject that I love to talk about, and I want to know how you do it because you have a PR background. So how have you been able to get PR for your business?
Right. So having the PR background has honestly been very helpful for me because I'm not afraid to talk about my work. I have friends who are in the business who feel like if they talk about their work to somebody, or they want to call an editor or call a blogger and say, hey, look what I'm doing, they feel like it's bragging. You have to get over that and know you're promoting your business. This is your bread and butter. This is what supports you or supports your family. And so because I was already trained, my degree is in PR, I have no problem picking up the phone or emailing somebody and say, hey, look, this is my work. I think this is relevant. So to answer your question, it takes a lot of time, a lot of calls. And to be honest, you have to have some confidence in what you're doing, and that has to come through. You're passionate about what you do. Make the room relevant. I don't just send a photo and say, hey, do you like it?
Right.
No, I say, this is something I did for a family of 5 who needed a functional room that was pretty with kid-friendly fabrics or whatever. And I'll give a little bit of background. You want to give the history behind the room. What's the story? People want, what's the story with the room? Yes, it's pretty, but tell us more. and then finding the right people to connect with, right? That's always the challenge. So a lot of research on my part, and I'm sure other designers as well.
Now, when you go after PR, are you mostly doing it locally, or are you hitting some of these national magazines as well?
Everything, national and local blogs. I think to designers who listen to your program, I think blogs are an excellent way to get your name out there. That helped me significantly. I was featured on several very high-profile blogs that had, 1 million followers or close to it, and that helped expose my brand significantly.
Yeah.
And one thing I want to point out is I would recommend as a designer, of course, to get your website up once you start building your portfolio, which at first I couldn't do because I didn't have the money to pay a photographer. Right. So I took my own photos for a couple of years, and I did the best I could, and I edited them the best I could, hired the photographer eventually. But then after that, I also started the blog. So I could pitch everything as a kind of a package to the...
Yeah. One of the tips I'll give to folks for photography, because as a paint contractor, I've got to have good photos as well. But because I don't necessarily have to have photos that are magazine quality and magazine level, but I do need really high quality photos that I can put on my website. So what I ended up doing was I went and found a gal who was a wedding photographer that had a little bit of experience in spaces, but she wasn't, a lot of these photographers, when you're having them go out to do a shoot, are $500 for one photo, $1,000 for a photo shoot. I paid literally just $100 for a whole entire house. I say, go out. I don't want you to edit it. I want you to get good lighting. I basically need them to be better than me. If you're a photographer, you know how to take a picture. It doesn't have to be the best thing. And so then we have consistent photos that I can say, all right, I just have to spend $100, $200, and I have a whole house photographed. And I think that's kind of a good stopgap for folks when you're building your portfolio.
I agree. I think that's a great way to ease yourself into paying those fees that you will need. And I will say I can take good photos pretty good myself now, but I still need a professional interiors photographer for my work to showcase it in the best way possible.
So you had said earlier that you didn't have a website when you first started. What was kind of the tipping point for you? When did you show, all right, I can't wait any longer, I've got to get a website? And then do you remember how much it cost?
So I finally started the website once I actually had some portfolio pictures to show to prove that I was legit, right? I wanted to prove,
Hey, if you can sell yourself without having any photos to prove, you were pretty good,
yeah. So once I had the photos, I got the website up, and I can't remember exactly, but I know that it was just a couple $100. It was nothing fancy. I think even a client helped me edit the text. Mm-hmm. I mean, it was pretty bare bones, but it was black and white, so it was very simple and modern. And so.
Have you redone the website since then?
It's been redone twice.
Twice.
And each time, I add stuff, take stuff away. I added the blog, so then it's on a whole nother platform. It becomes my portfolio and my blog, which is great because it's all in one. And
then do you connect the two brands?
Box and Chic is a totally separate company.
Right.
It is not related to JWS Interior.
So there's no
connection other than I'm the owner of both.
Okay.
Because one is service-based and the other is product, so totally separate.
Awesome. Mm-hmm. So the other thing I like to talk about is, I know you said you have someone that helps you in the office. Is that? You have one other person. She
helps me with design.
She helps. Okay, so she's
with the design stuff.
So she's a designer.
She's in training.
She's a designer in training, so like a junior designer.
She's in school.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So when you went looking for that person, what did you look for?
So she's the third person, I believe, who's worked for me. Mm-hmm. And I found that...
Are you a diva to work for?
No. No. The problem is people would stay, but I'm just not to a point where I can offer full-time with benefits. It's the benefits.
Sure.
So that's a small business owner challenge, right? The women who are in school are eager to get experience. And so I called the local design schools and said, give me a handful of your best bunch. Tell me who they are. And then I just gave them what my job description was, and they posted on their thing. Or it's a referral. So the person who works with me now is on a referral on the stylist that I work with. She said, hey, I know someone good if you need help.
Sure. Yeah.
Referrals always good.
Referrals are always good, yeah. Is there a characteristic you look for each time?
Sure. I mean, I want someone honest and on the ball. Someone who's going to do the work and turn it in when they're supposed to, and they do a good job, and that's what I need.
So you have two businesses now, and I know as a business owner myself, I have to wear a lot of hats. What's a hat that you don't really like wearing?
I don't like anything that has to do with the numbers and accounting.
Do you have somebody that helps you with that?
I have an accountant. Okay. I need someone that works with me probably more closely in all the business stuff. And I'm looking into hiring someone now for that.
That was huge for me.
Yeah, the business side is... I like it, but I don't like it enough. I should be spending my time, since I'm the owner, on the creative part and building the business. I need to let go of stuff, and that's something as a business owner that I have to learn, and I'm sure other people have to learn too. Some things you have to let go and give to someone else to help you so that you can grow.
Yeah. I held on to that financial piece for a very long time, thinking I couldn't afford to hire, whatever there's a lot of options out there, a bookkeeper, an outsourced CFO. And finally, I just came to a point I just knew it wasn't getting done correctly, because what I would do is I would hold off on whether it was my data entry or whether it was my reconciliation. And so then I'd be like 3 months behind, and then tax time would be horrible. And so finally I just bit the bullet and hired an outsourced CFO. And I've not missed that money. It has just been like, oh, now I can control my business.
It clears that mental space of stress.
Yeah. Absolutely. So where are you going? Do you want to build this thing to a staff of 20? Do you want to just stay small? What's small to you? Where is it heading?
I like staying small, but of course I want to grow. So I don't know the number of staff, but I'll see where it goes. But I love that because I have to say, partly and because of Instagram, I now have a whole new revenue arm for my business, and that is being a brand ambassador for home decor companies. So this has become something that was unexpected and that I didn't do any reaching out for, that they've been coming to JWS Interiors. So for instance, I have a contract with Steam Master Carpet now. So I helped them launch some of their new carpet squares last year. And so they're coming to, these home decor companies are now coming to designers to help them promote their products. And there's a shift in the way that these companies are promoting their brands. I think, personally, I see them moving away from print advertising. They're moving to social media, and they're hitting design influencers. And I'm so excited to have this be a part of my business now. This will be the third. I have 3 brands, and it's growing, that I've been working with. I have a project now in New York with a collaboration of 6 brands that I'm in the middle of right now, that came out of the blue. And they contacted me.
So tell us about that. We haven't had that conversation, I don't think, on this show. So how does that transpire?
So the brand typically will just literally email me and say, we love your work. We've been following you. We've seen your website. We've seen your Instagram account. We like what you're doing. And this is what we have going on. And they'll just give you a little piece of information. They don't give you a lot.
They won't tell you the whole enchilada?
Yeah. They give you a little piece of information. You have to sign some non-disclosure agreements. And then you work together to see what it is they want you to promote, if it's a good fit for your brand. I think it's really important that you are selective and, who's coming to you. I will only work with companies that, I believe in and who fit my brand identity. And then you go from there, and it's been just a fabulous new way of expanding exposure to my brand and doing something completely unique that I honestly can say I never expected.
And another revenue stream.
And a whole new revenue stream.
Yeah, for just the things you're already doing.
For things I'm doing,
Obviously, there's a few additional things, but in a large part, things you're already doing.
Correct, yes.
You're blogging, you're out there.
Right.
You're going to events like this that we're at.
The other brands
so can you share the other brands besides?
I can't yet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
it's that new.
It's new, and we you will know. I can start doing it at the end of this month, beginning of May.
Okay.
So I can't say who they are, but they're companies we all know in the home decor space.
So in order to find out, they're going to have to follow at least your website or on Instagram.
Instagram for sure, and then the website.
So what are those things? Let's put that out there so people know how to follow you.
Sure. So my Instagram is at JWS Interiors. And my website is www.jws-interiors.com.
Well, and to make it easier, we will put that in our show notes.
Okay.
So it'll all be good. People will be able to find it, no problem.
Thanks.
So I'm excited. We've got to go get ready now to get on stage to talk about branding. So I'm very excited about that. But thank you so much for spending time with me here in the atrium at, what hotel are we at? Somewhere
Hilton
in Dallas.
Anatole, Dallas.
This thing is like the biggest hotel I think I've ever been in.
I think there's probably 1,000 rooms here, if not more.
We're at one end, and I went to the gym yesterday, and it was like a 20-minute walk from one end to the other. And then the gym was like a mini 24-hour fitness.
Oh, wow.
It has a pool and a track, and it was amazing. So,
great.
So if you ever come to Dallas, you got to come to this place. This place is awesome.
Yeah, it was great. There's 5 restaurants here.
And we just saw Tim Gunn.
I know. Yeah, he's doing some promotion.
I was hoping we could get him on the show, but I haven't seen him walk by. That would have been cool.
Yeah. This has been great, Nick. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you, Jennifer. This was so
really
fun. And I get to hang out with you the rest of the day.
Yeah, sounds great.
All right. Thanks.
Okay, bye.
So a great time talking with Jennifer. I got to be honest with you, it's going to be hard for me because I just spent the afternoon with Jennifer. After our interview, we went over to the World Trade Center here in Dallas, and we had a fantastic event with the Interior Design Society. So we did really a kind of a cool panel where Barbara Viteri, who has been on the show, she interviewed, well, it was more of a conversation with me and Jennifer and Nina Megan. And it was just a really fun event. I've not really seen anything like this at an interior design event, but it was really, really well received. I met just a great group of interior designers that had come to the event, and it was just fun. It was something, it wasn't stuffy, which, as you probably know if you've been to any of these events, has a tendency to be a little bit stuffy. Well, we just kicked back and we talked as it is. Like, we were just truthful. And I had a few people that came to me and really just thanked me for the transparency that we all had. So great conversation with Jennifer. She's got just a fantastic story. She's building a great design business, not only doing interior design with clients, but then also with her product. And that's really what she was talking about, at least at the event that we had this afternoon, Box of Chic. And just what a great story. So lots of great learnings today. Don't forget, we are brought to you by BenjaminMoore.com and the folks over at DesignManager.com. So they've just been fantastic to me, and they are what make it happen here at the show in the Shays Lounge every week. So please go and support them and let them know. So thanks, as always, thanks for listening to us. Before I go, I got to remind you, please connect with me on Twitter. I think in Twitter, I am Nick in the Lounge. On Instagram, it is The Shays Lounge. And then, of course, on Facebook, you can connect. Probably the easiest way is just to go over to our website, theshazloungepodcast.com, and click on the Facebook button over on the right. I would love to hear from you. I would love to know what you're doing. That's one of the things that's been fantastic about today is people coming up to me and saying, Nick, it's so great to meet you. I've been listening to you for almost a year. So really, really fun. So thanks for listening. I just want to tell you that. Thanks for supporting the show. Thanks for sharing it with your friends and telling other designers about the show. And you know what? Please share it with somebody that you think should become a designer. I think one of the things that I've been discovering a lot is that we have a lot of people that are in other industries that are working that would really love to get into interior design. And on this show, that's the story we tell so many times, just like the story that we talked about today with Jennifer. So please share the show and let other people know about it. Please go over to iTunes and give me a review in iTunes. That would be much appreciated. Until next time, I'm Nick May, your host, reminding you, keep dreaming big. Keep designing a great design business. See ya.